Listen, it's Friday. I feel absolutely amazing. I am ready for today's session, 100%. I'm reading an amazing book at the moment. It's a beautiful book. It was recommended to me, and it's around Stoics and Stoicism. So I've read lots of different books on that, but it's just nice always hearing somebody's different perspective. But when it's audible, it's so important that the voice kind of like you can sink into it. I think it depends on the subject matter, but if it's got that nice voice and you can really sink into it. So I'm really enjoying that at the moment. So today is going to be 250 pull-ups with the 5 kilogram weight, and it's the rings dips. So I'm going to try and stretch it out today to 277 rings dips, and the reason for that is that I have taken the remaining days of the challenge, divided it by the number of rings dips left. I'll share this all with you later. You'll be able to see the data as the video progresses. But listen, I'm going to dive into it. See you soon. Okay. Wow, what a day. What a day. Lot to unpack here. Okay. All very positive, by the way. All very positive. Okay. So first of all, I'll tell you about the challenge. 250 pull-ups with a 5 kilogram weight, done, complete, exactly how I wanted it to go. The rings dips, 250 rings dips, complete, done, and I'm getting there. I stuck to the 4 reps max per set, and it's building, but the overarching target has been achieved today. But you'll see the data at the end, how that's broken down. But this is what I want to talk about the most. Okay, so this week, if you've been watching the previous videos, you'll know that I've kind of got inside my own head a little bit. I've been a hard taskmaster, a hard taskmaster on myself, which is kind of what I'm like. So discipline, routine, structure, processes, all of those things. They're a big part of my life. They're important to me. They make me who I am. But as I've understood more by reflecting upon the last week or so, it's not been serving me well in certain areas, and I've just had to take that time out for myself, to be kind to myself, to go into my breathing meditation, to focus and deal with the thoughts that I've had going on, which have essentially been impacting my performance for the physical challenge, but also it's been it's sort of knocked my confidence a bit. So I've not necessarily engaged with people as much as I would normally engage, and I do consider myself to be somebody that likes to be nice, chilled, relaxed, have a nice positive energy, and give that off to others. So when I see them, even if it's like for 3 seconds, and I see them, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I let them know that I see them, whether it's a fist bump or whether we have a little conversation, it really doesn't matter. I like that impression to be that nice, positive, high frequency energy, because it feels good for me and it feels good for them. But you know what? Sometimes, when you're not feeling it, and you'll walk past somebody and you kind of don't want them to see you. You want to be invisible for a split second. But if you don't say hi or you don't engage with them or whatever it is, then you'll think, right, they'll think that I've ignored them. This week has been a little bit like that for me, in the sense of I need to watch sometimes how I can recluse myself or exclude myself from certain social interactions because I'm not feeling me, or sometimes because I'm not feeling it, that other person might think I'm going to bring that energy, and what happens if I don't bring that energy? Sometimes I've just got to be me. Okay, why I'm sharing all this with you is today I've had an absolutely incredible interaction with somebody who we've had a couple of chats, but we got something out. We've had a couple of chats, but today we had a proper, authentic conversation, real nice, deep conversation. I shared my story about how I first started to get involved in public challenges. So the 50,000 pull-ups challenge in 2022, being diagnosed with autism in the January 2022, launching the 50,000 pull-ups challenge, and just thinking, you know what, I need to get myself out of me. I think coming out of the pandemic, it really made me go insular. My social anxiety went through the roof. I struggled with close friends, family, strangers, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, sort of coming through that, I knew I needed to bring me out of me. That was a real challenge. So when I started the 50,000 pull-ups, and I was like, gyms were closed and stuff, so I was like training in the park. At the time, my hometown in Altrincham, and strangers going past walking the dog saying, I'm sure I see you there all the time. Obviously, I'm like a 6 foot, bearded, bald-headed guy just doing pull-ups in the park with a little sign. So, like an Amazon parcel. I just sort of like squashed an Amazon parcel and then stuck to it with A4 paper. The challenge, it was 50,000 pull-ups that I wanted to achieve in 2022. And I wanted to, link it to raising money for charity, which was something a bit different. So I chose the Mental Health Foundation. So I put my little sign out there, and like people just walking past. And eventually we'd have conversations. And you know what? I've had literally hundreds of conversations with different people, just sharing stories. Honestly, and you know what? It's wonderful, because in that moment, they're making a difference in your life. They might not even know it by having that social interaction. But also you're making a difference in theirs, because they tell you, they say, do you know what? Really glad I spoke to you today. You've helped me out, or you've inspired me in some way. I want to start going for that jog that I keep putting off, or you know what? You've helped me. You made me realise that the challenge really isn't about doing the 50,000 for you. It's bringing yourself out of yourself. Hence, that's why you're talking to me now, because the challenge was the social anxiety, how to overcome it. There's no rule book for this. There isn't a rule book that says, right, okay, you've got to get this book, and if you follow these steps, this will get you out of your social anxiety. So I had to make it up as I was going along, and I thought, if I do a public challenge, stick it on Twitter. I know you're thinking, why Twitter? You should have gone on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Why did you do that? At the time, I just did it. It was something that I was familiar with and I was comfortable with, so I just did it, and it kept me conditioned, because it just let me do 1-minute videos. So just say, hey, this is day such and such. I'm at the park, I'm doing this, that, and the other. That was doing something different. I mean, that brought my confidence on leaps and bounds. Actually, social media did help from that aspect, because I was vlogging my journey. I was doing video logs of my journey, sharing with you what was going on in my mind that day, how the challenge was going physically, and how I was breaking it down. So I got to share with people like how I think, how details matter to me, processes, planning, project planning, building out challenges. But really, it's breaking down a big challenge like 50,000 pull-ups and going really small and getting to understand it, and moving into that management, that element of being able to control something, or feel like I'm in control of something. Truth is, it's the same with the social anxiety. That was my biggest challenge. So it's how I broke down. Just talking to you about it now, it brings it up, because I know what that feeling's like. Okay, so it was how I broke down that massive challenge of just speaking to somebody, a stranger. You know what? That's how I come up with the practice, patience, and persistence, the 3 values. So I've got to practice that thing. So I want to talk to more people, right? You've got to do it. Okay, so go and do it. So that's the practice bit, tick. The patience bit. The patience bit is thinking, okay, well, I might talk to somebody. They might approach me because they've seen the sign and they're wondering why I'm doing 50,000 pull-ups. So I'll engage with them. But sometimes you get that feeling, you might know this yourself, when somebody wants to talk to you, but they're not necessarily going to make the first step, so it's got to come from you. So in those instances, I'd approach them and have a chat, and then it'd turn out they'd say, do you know what? I've seen you around, And I've been wanting to talk to you for ages. And I think it's fascinating what you're doing, your story. Really appreciate it. So it just shows you as human beings, we're all different. We're all different. We all think differently. We all deal with things differently. It's the invisible. That's what I'm talking about here. It's the invisible. You can't see what is going on in somebody's mind. We can't see these bits. They're the invisible bits. We can see the physical bits. The orange hat, the big beard, the 6-foot guy doing the pull-ups. I get all that, and then you'll build up a perception of who this person is. God, he must be an athlete. He must be really strong. This, that, and the other. Whatever it is that you're conjuring up. Okay, some of those things may be true, but the truth is at that moment, my mental health wasn't where it needed to be because the social anxiety was really gripping hold of me and it was stopping me being me. I wasn't laughing the same. I wasn't enjoying jokes the same. I wasn't enjoying life the same. And it was tough times, but that pulled me through. That particular start of that challenge, that pulled me through. And you know what? I didn't even know at the time that it would do that. I just knew I had to do something. I had to start my day one. And my day one at that point was bringing me out of me. And by doing the challenge and setting the challenge to be audacious and public, it meant that it wasn't a short thing like, I'm going to do this thing in one day. It meant that, well, I've got all year to do it. So I've got time. I've got time to come out of myself and go on this journey. And that's the thing. The destination, the outcome is never guaranteed. But the journey, that's the good stuff. The journey is where the learning is. It's where the development is. So, I've had one of these interactions today with an absolutely incredible human being. And we shared stories. We've had some similar experiences. And there's been a lot of empathy, a lot of story sharing there, and a great connection. And that wasn't part of the plan today. My plan was today, come in, do this training regime, this, that, the other, in my usual way, the discipline, the process, the routine, the time management, all that sort of stuff, which is great. But what I didn't plan was to have such an incredible conversation with an incredible human being. And you know what? Sometimes the great stuff, the best stuff, you can't plan for it. Just happens. But you've got to be in that moment and recognize it. Don't dismiss it. Feel it. Go with your intuition. Listen to your higher self. Connect to yourself. Get on that frequency, that energy frequency, that high energy frequency, because the chances are that person's on that same frequency, and then you make that connection. Okay. Right. I'm going to go and eat. I've trained fasted today. So it's been a nice fast, fully hydrated, but I'm going to go and eat. It's Friday. I'm going to be kind to myself today. I've got a busy schedule for the rest of the day. But you know what? Today hasn't gone how I planned it to be. But I won't change it. It's been wonderful. So, whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world, be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Thanks for staying with me on the journey. Thanks for listening to me. I'll see you soon. Take care.